The alpaca is a species of South American camelid. Alpacas are kept in herds that graze on the level heights of the Andes of southern Peru, western Bolivia, Ecuador and northern Chile. Here in Poland, in Krzeczyn Mały, three French partners, Charles, David and Paul, started an alpaca farm. Combining tradition with quality, they established Le Chardon, a brand producing handmade duvets.
All right then, Charles. So we're here with the alpacas, and it's feeding time. Maybe you could tell us first of all, how come there's alpacas here in a field in the Polish countryside?
Well, I wanted to do some agriculture here, and the idea came of some friends of mine who came here for a weekend and wanted to give me a present. They thought about an alpaca, but then you can't have one alpaca alone. You need to have at least two or three. So they thought it was not such a easy present, and they started reading about it, and that the wool was very interesting in all kind of aspects. Już, wystarczy. And they proposed me to breed them here. And I had no idea what an alpaca was, if it was a chemical product, or I didn't even know the name. And we started this a few years ago with 10 of them, and now we just had this year the first one who was born 3 days ago, a little male. That's enough. And we got 37 now.
Blimey. So they've really jumped up in numbers quickly. So they breed quite fast then?
Really slowly, actually. A female does one baby a year.
Okay.
The gestation is 11 and a half months. So it's quite long.
Okay, yeah, it is.
So it's quite long, especially compared to the rabbits we have also, which go quite quicker.
Yes, they do indeed. Okay, and so tell me about like your kind of routine with the alpacas then. Are you here like regularly and feeding and interacting with them? Or?
We feed them every morning and every evening. We have hay. They have as much hay as they want. Water and this element which are some cereals and minerals that they have in South America. They don't have here so much. And as you can see, they seem to like it.
Yeah, they do indeed, yeah. And do you think that they're sort of well adjusted to this kind of Polish countryside life now?
I think so, because it's quite comparable to what they have in South America, in Bolivia and Peru.
Right.
Because it gets quite hot in the summer and cold here in the winter. Especially, the thing is that the colder it is, the more wool they do.
The more wool they produce, right?
They produce,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah, okay. And so what do you do with that wool once you've sheared the alpacas?
We shear them once a year, around June, which is the best time because it gets hot and it's the best for them. And then we do some duvets out of their wool. The wool is interesting because it's hypoallergenic. So it's good for people who can't have duck
feathers.
Duck feathers. Actually, duck feathers are very good, but the animal suffers when you take the feathers out of them. Whereas alpacas, they're shaven once a year, just as sheep. So they don't mind it. It's good for them. So the alpacas actually, it's a positive for them to have their wool shaved. They need it, because if you don't do it, it's like sheep. They get very hot in the summer. Yeah, the wool is very good too because it keeps you cool during the summer and hot during the winter. It's very natural.
So do you sleep with an alpaca wool duvet?
I do since a few years, and I have to say my nights have changed.
Yeah,
yes.
for the better, right?
We should go and see the alpaca duvet factory.
Fantastic. And Do you know of much else, something similar to this in Poland, or is this really just one of a kind?
No, there are some other farms where they have alpaca in Poland, but the two countries which are the most developed for it in Europe are Germany and England. They have the best ones and New Zealand is very good for, just like sheep's.
Yeah, it's that kind of environment. All right, fantastic. So, I'll tell you what, let's go and have a look at the alpaca wool factory.
Perfect.
We're here with Piotrek, who's the alpaca keeper here on Lubin Farm. So, Piotrek, could you tell us a little bit about what you do in your job?
Hodłuję te alpaki, jestem kierownikiem.
I help with alpaca breeding. I'm shepherd here and I'm very happy with my job. They are such a nice animals.
Co to więcej powiedzieć? Bardzo przyjemne zwierzęta.
And could you tell us a little bit about the alpacas themselves and what are they like, and do they have individual sort of characters and personalities?
Różne charaktery.
They do have different characters. Each one of them is individual. They are very friendly creatures.
Zwierzęta.
Could you maybe give me an example of how the typical character traits of an individual alpaca?
Spokojne, w każdym bądź razie nie są agresywne.
They are calm. They are not aggressive. It's easy to love them, really. They are so nice.
Te zwierzęta pokochać i w ogóle.
How much wool does that actually produce?
We get over 100 kilograms of wool a year.
Do they ever spit on you?
Rzadko.
They don't really spit on me. It is a natural thing for animals like this to spit sometimes, though.
Coś, ale raczej sporadycznie.
Mr. Piotrek, thank you very much for joining us here at Poland Daily Culture. Right then, Charles, we've seen the different processes of processing the wool, and finally here we are, and we're going to see the finished product, the duvet itself.
Yes, so here is the duvet we produced, transforming grass, which the alpaca ate, into something that will make you sleep hot in the winter and cold and cool in the summer.
Uh-huh.
So there we are.
Fantastic.
Take this here. As we spend a third of our time sleeping, I think it's quite important to sleep well. And there we are, the final product.
Okay, excellent. So, could you tell us something a little bit about this business? So, we're based here in Western Poland, and this is sort of how it begins, but this is not the end of its journey, right?
No, so it's produced here, and for now we are selling it in France. In Paris, we just started a little time ago, and we hope to be able to sell it here too in Poland, in England maybe, and sometime in America, why not?
So Charles, tell me about the difference between this duvet and your standard duvet in a shop. What are the advantages of this one?
Well, I think we can divide duvets into two kinds. The first one would be natural ones and non-natural ones. For people who don't want to sleep under non-natural duvets, there are left all alpaca wool or other wools, or the feathers from ducks and gooses, which suffer a great deal from taking the feathers out of them.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing I would say is that it's the wool is so hot that it makes the duvet very, very thin. Very, very thin. And it keeps you hot in the winter when it's cold, and also cool in the summer.
And Charles, as I understand it, it's also quite a positive for allergy sufferers.
Exactly. Everyone can sleep under it, babies, old people, people who have allergies, without suffering from it at all.
Well then, Charles, so if somebody wants to purchase this duvet, how would they go about doing that?
Well, for now, on our website, Le Chardon, and we hope so quite soon in some shops in Paris, and maybe soon enough in Warsaw and London, maybe.
So Charles, your job here primarily is overseeing the processing of the wool and the final product, but as I understand it, there's several other compartments to the business.
Yes, I mainly look upon the alpacas. One of my associates, David de Jouffroy, was more into projecting the duvet and now selling it in Paris. And the third one, Paul Rothfeld, he's doing all the marketing and selling too. So we complete ourselves quite well.
Fantastic. Look forward to seeing on the market soon.
Thank you.